think I'm good to go. Although I think I'm going to go into the settings and turn this game down a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, just we'll just have to go with that. What's going on, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man Liquid Clay, coming at you with a just an update. I don't even want to call this a podcast of what's been going on with me lately. I want to start by saying that I haven't put out any content in barely a month. I think the last time I put out something was when I benchmarked my RTX 3070, and ironically that situation kind of led to part of the reason why I haven't been around that much. Great Tantrum, how's it going? So I've been recovering from COVID-19. I've tested positive for COVID-19. And if you have any issues, hearing me, please let me know so I can go into the settings and adjust it. Because I don't want to come back to this, you know, I'm sitting here talking for about an hour, what have you, and then I come back and find out that the audio was terrible. So, you know what? Let me just go to my YouTube page and see what we got. COVID felt like the flu to me. It did too. Okay, hold on a second, Tantrum. COVID felt like the flu to me. It did too. Hold on a second. Okay, that's good enough. So yeah, it did feel like the flu to me. The biggest problem with the COVID that I was having was every time that I thought I was starting to feel better, I would get hit with a new set of symptoms. And I've had a variety of symptoms. I've had headaches, I've had abdominal pain, I've had chills to the point where it would be 90 degrees inside my apartment, but I'm covered up with 2 or 3 blankets because I was literally freezing to death. Back was sore. I was having trouble breathing, like my windpipe and my lungs were feeling tight, and I couldn't take deep breaths the way I wanted to, and coughing was causing a variety of things with me. Coughing was causing headaches. Sometimes when I was trying to take those really deep coughs, I could feel the shortness of breath so much to the point where I almost felt like I was going to pass out a few times. And so I've isolated for 2 weeks. I'm feeling better, which is nothing new. The big problem with feeling better is that, again, every time I think I'm good to go, I would get hit with a new set of symptoms, and it would put me right back in bed. And so right now I'm in a situation where I do feel better, but I can't lay in bed all day, but yet I can't get up and move around all day. So it's like I'll lay in bed for a couple hours, get up, move around for a little bit, and then get back into bed. But all in all, I still feel a lot better than I did 2 weeks ago. I felt so bad 2 weeks ago. Like my brother brought food to me, and to make sure we didn't come within contact with each other, he put the food outside the door, and then once he saw me coming to the door to get the food, he started backing away, you know, from the door. So yeah, it made you feel weak too? So So that's part of the reason why I haven't put out content. And even before I had COVID, I wasn't putting out that much content because I was actually starting to feel burnt out on YouTube. Because I'll tell you this about YouTube. I don't care if you got 1 sub or you got 1 million subs. The more you put into YouTube, the more something in your regular life is going to suffer. And before I came to YouTube, I was working 6 days a week, and I was going to the gym 5 days a week. Other than that, when I wasn't working and when I wasn't at the gym, I was either sleeping because I needed to recover from all the work that I was doing, and I had to spend a lot of my time food prepping because being that I was eating healthy, I just didn't have the time to cook food every single night. So I was trying to cook food for the next 3 or 4 days and prep it. That was my life. I didn't have time for anything else. So at the time that I came to YouTube, I had just got laid off from my job. So now I suddenly got a lot of time on my hands. So I was actually making videos. I was still going to the gym, and I was still getting rest and still prepping my food because I didn't have to get up for work in the morning at the time. And when I first came to YouTube, I was making edited videos, and it didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but I would make a 5-minute video and it would take up 4 hours of my day. Searching out footage, trying to decide how I'm going to put it together. The script was what took a lot of time with these edited videos because I would make so many mistakes. I wanted to try to make these videos as professional as possible. So when I found myself tripping over my words, I would end up having to delete whatever that audio was and then try it again and over and over and over again. So I was finding myself doing 20 takes on a line that only took 5 seconds. He said my mom tried ivermectin, and she said it helped her recover faster. I did it the tough way. I didn't really take any medication. I just stayed in bed and I tried to eat enough food to stay alive.
Round 3. Ready, go!
So yeah, it was like making videos when I first came to YouTube. I was spending 4 hours to make a 5 or 10 minute video. And I wasn't working at the time. I was laid off, and I figured, hey, this was a perfect time to start my YouTube channel. Shout out to King Thrash because he helped me get started. And hold on a second, folks. Okay. So fast forward to me getting a job. Now I don't have that kind of time. Say, I suffered it out too. Took some cough medicine. That's it.
This is where.
Well, I took some pain reliever medicine, and it helped a little bit, but not that much. So now that I'm working, I don't have that kind of time anymore. I can't go to the gym 5 days a week. I can't see Slim, what's good? I can't go to work 6 days a week because a lot of times when you get hired at a job, especially a blue collar job, they hire you at a time where they're really, really busy and they're already working overtime. So when you start a new job, you can kind of expect to be working a lot of hours when you first get hired in. And that's kind of what was happening at the job that I'm working now. When I got hired, there was a lot of OT going around, which was fine with me. But I'm working 6 days a week. I'm still trying to go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm still trying to do all my food prep. I'm still trying to get rest. And now you factor in that now that I've started a YouTube channel and one 5-minute video takes up about 4 hours of my time, it just wasn't enough hours in the day for all this stuff. So I had to make some decisions. I was going to have to trim something. I had to decide what I was going to be the most committed to, and everything else was going to kind of take a hit for it. And I tried to remain committed to the gym, but over time, you know, YouTube kind of, I don't know, YouTube started taking over a lot. And so now, instead of going to the gym, I'm trying to work out from home. So I can still, you know, so I can still try to do what I'm doing on YouTube. And after a while, it just became obvious. I was like, I can't keep this up anymore. Making these 10-minute videos, just chewing up, you know, a good chunk of my day. So that's when I started, that's when I switched over to live streaming and started doing podcasts and started doing live gameplays and stuff like that. So long and short of it, I don't want to try to, you know, put you guys to sleep with all this shit. But over the years, it wasn't so much a case of me,
you know what you're getting yourself into,
trying to better my content. It was more of a case of me trying to be more efficient with my time. Because again, I don't care who you are. There's not enough hours in a day to commit to YouTube, to work a regular job, you know, and still do things outside of your regular life. I mean, over the past 3 years, I can probably count on one hand how many times I set foot in the gym. All the workout that I've been doing it from here. You know, because I got dumbbells and stuff like that. And even working out from here, I've been finding it hard to keep up with a regular routine. But just working 6 days a week is enough to take a lot out of you. So anyway, so let me try to hurry up and wrap this part up as far as what's been going on with me. So now you fast forward to where I am with YouTube. I'm over 1,000 subs. I really appreciate everybody that supported me along this journey. The situation with me right now is that, again, I'm still working a lot. I'm still trying to get my rest, and still trying to find to be the best way to be efficient with YouTube. So now I was reaching a point, and then, you know, and then with VR, you only, I would say maybe 1,000 subs is the threshold, in my opinion. Because I think with VR, if you've got 1,000 subs or better, and you start reaching out to devs for keys to games, you can get some keys. You know, you may not get a key from every sub, but from every dev, but you will get some keys. And
Ready, go!
so now I'm reaching a point in YouTube, not just, more or less gaming, period. Now I'm reaching a point in gaming where it's like every time I turn on my PlayStation, every time I turn on my PC, every time I turn on my Oculus Quest headset, and I get ready to play something, part of me feels like I gotta kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That in addition to playing this game, I need to stream it too, because I feel like I'm being more efficient with my time. And because of that, I was like, I was starting to find myself in a situation where I wasn't enjoying it. And then you also have to factor in that I had to be careful what I was streaming because of copyright stuff. Because YouTube punishes you, you know, when you do stuff outside that algorithm that they don't like. So what I was also starting to find out is that if I do a stream
Round 3.
that had copyright claims on it because of music or something like that, YouTube would basically stop spreading that stream around. And so I've had streams that probably started out like for the first 2 hours, might have got 50 views, and then the views just stopped cold. And I'm like, well, okay, what happened? And then I find out that the video's got a copyright claim. So not only does YouTube stop spreading the content around when it's got copyright claims on it, in my cases, they've taken subs away from me from this stuff. I've had situations where I had not put out content in about a week, and then that one day that I decide to go ahead and put out some content and it's got a copyright claim, I come back 2 days later only to find out that I've lost like 3 subs, even though that's the only content that I put out that week. So now it's like, again, every time I turn on one of my devices and think about playing some sort of game, I'm thinking to myself, I'll try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, to go ahead and get some playtime in and stream it while I'm at it, so I can provide the audience with content. But now I have to be mindful of whether the game has music that's going to get me hit with a copyright. So while we're on that quick little subject right there, VR devs, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's pleaded with you guys with this stuff. Please, if you're gonna put copyright music in your games, please give us the ability to turn it off. Help us to help you.
Go ahead, knock yourself out.
So,
Start running now. Round 1. Ready? Go.
while all this stuff is going through my mind about trying to avoid copyrights and stuff like that, I'm also like looking at my library like, okay, what do I have in my library that I haven't streamed before? What do I have in my library that I think people might want to see today? All that stuff. And realistically speaking, when it comes to my channels, 2 things gets me views. Is whenever I do a podcast and the subject is interesting, or if I'm streaming a new game for the first time. That'll get me some views too. So I might stream. I'll use Sniper Elite VR for an example. If I stream that for the first time, it might get me a couple hundred views. I come back and stream that same game 3 days later, it might only have 50 views. So first time content gets me a decent amount of views, and podcasts get me a decent amount of views. So
All right. Knockout.
So I think I had gotten to a point where I'm worried about what I'm going to stream rather than actually playing something that I'm enjoying. So I fell back and I took a break for a while, and I think I needed it. You know, the shit was starting to get on my mind so much that I was actually debating whether to walk away from YouTube or not. Because I also say that while I've been down with COVID, and I've been binge watching a lot of stuff on YouTube the past couple of weeks, and actually YouTube actually started getting on my nerves as a viewer as well as a content creator.
Ready? Go.
So it got to the point where I would just shut the TV off and just go to sleep. And even though I wasn't feeling that well, I still had a couple of moments where I just wanted to grab an ice cold glass of water and just go outside and walk around the apartment complex for a little while. Just get away from this damn TV, get away from Twitter, get away from YouTube, all that shit. So I don't know, maybe go back to living like we did in the 70s or something. So anyway, that's kind of been the situation there. See, Tantrum, even though I like streaming on YouTube, I just lost the interest. I might do streaming in the future, but for now, I don't have the drive. And that's kind of how I feel right now, Tantrum. I will say this, though. In this is something else I had kind of forgot to say. That I think one of the reasons, like, I started doing more gameplay streams instead of a podcast, because when it comes to VR, let's be brutally honest. When it comes to VR, when it comes to the news, there's not enough compelling news out there. It's just not. So when I would do these podcasts, rather than just try to straight give the news, I would also try to put my own spin on it and give my own opinion on what I thought this particular situation could mean for VR moving forward. And
Round one. Ready, go!
the here and the now, like this news, when it comes to VR, yes, there is news every day, but in my opinion, it's not compelling. Case in point, I'm not gonna jump up and have a podcast or spend 4 hours editing a video so I can talk about some company that secured $3 million worth of funding so they can continue their VR research and development. What does that do in the meantime right now? So if you're a person who never played VR before, and I'm trying to sell you on VR, and I'm trying to tell you why you should get a VR headset and that kind of shit, having a podcast telling you about some company that secured $2-3 million in funding so they can continue VR research and development, and they're not telling you specifically what they're going to do. That, oh, this company secured $2 million for research and development. What the hell does that, what does that tell us in detail what they're going to do with the money? And what is that going to do in terms of trying to get VR to the mainstream right now?
Ready, go!
As a person who probably never played VR before, they could give two shits about a company who secured money, for research and development. What does that do for them right now? What does that do for somebody that never played VR? And what does that do for me right now? So that was another reason why I had to cut down on the podcast, because it just wasn't that much compelling news out there. Now, I will say that once we start getting more information about PSVR 2, I will go back to doing some sort of podcast, because the vision that Sony has for VR, bringing VR support to AAA titles, there's going to be compelling stuff to talk about. But I think the biggest news we probably had in VR over the past week or so was Sony picking up Firespray, and I think those are the developers of the Persistence. As far as VR goes, they did a flat screen version of the Persistence, and I think they did one or two other VR titles. But other than that, what other compelling VR news have we gotten over the past week? Also, VR right now, in my opinion, is in an interesting state. If you're a person who really, really likes PC VR, right now I think it's kind of stagnant. We had that big debate about whether or not PC VR is dead. It's not dead, but it's definitely stagnant. And PC VR, I don't think we're going to start seeing premium games again until PSVR 2 hits its stride. Right now, all the developers are gravitating towards the Quest, because that's where the money's at right now. And I don't know, I'm starting to feel like with some of these games out there, I think we're starting to get to the point where we've seen it all. there's 1,000 first-person shooter games out there in VR. Somebody comes out with a new VR shooter, and they talk about, you know, how the game's been built from the ground up of VR, blah, blah, blah. And they make it sound like, you know, we're going to see something that we've never seen before. And then after I end up taking a look at the game, it's like, okay, I've seen this before. And I don't really see anything that stands out. So as a person, me, to put the bow on this before we get ready to move on to this PlayStation showcase, to put a bow on this,
Let's talk more action.
I guess I'm a person that likes graphics.
Round one.
Well, when it comes to VR sports titles, I'm not necessarily that concerned about graphics because it's all about the competition. It's all about me going up against a live person to try to find out who's better. But when it comes to single player games, you know, I'm looking for the graphics. I'm looking for graphics, and
Knockout.
right now, I think after we get Lone Echo 2 and maybe Lo-Fi, there's really no games coming to PC VR that everybody's talking about, in my opinion. So, Great Tantrum, you said if we start seeing games like Space Pirate Trainer Deluxe with an arena style VR gaming, then mobile VR will look more appealing. Now, this Space Pirate thing has kind of been a big talk lately, and I'm under the impression, like, I haven't been following it that closely, but what the big talk with this Space Pirate Trainer is, I guess, is the ability to play the game full-blown room scale. And I guess there's a couple of videos out there where people played in a play space big enough where it was totally room scale, where they were freely moving about. That's all cool and stuff like that, but in my opinion, you know, where am I going to be able to go in my local city? Where am I going to be able to go to find room scale big enough to be able to play Space Pirate Trainer? And even if I find a space where even if I can go to a spot where I can rent out a space and play this game room scale, how many people am I going to be able to get to come there with me that have Oculus Quest headsets so we can play this? Right. You say a tennis court, a park. I get all that.
Ready, go!
But here's something else though. Okay, whether you go to a tennis court, whether you go to a park or something like that, I guess these headsets don't connect locally. It's got to be through some kind of Wi-Fi for everybody, for the headsets to all know where each other's at.
Round two.
So now, let's use the tennis court as the example. So I go to a tennis court. Okay, that gives me enough space to play the game full-blown room scale. Well, how many people am I going to be able to get to come with me that has Oculus Quest headsets that would even be interested in playing Space Pirate Trainer? And then, even if I get enough people to come there with me that have headsets to be willing to play the game, does the tennis court that I'm going to, if it's an indoor facility, it's got to be an indoor facility, and I have to hope that the place has Wi-Fi so all the headsets can connect together. That's a lot of work to go through to be able to play a game room scale. So I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but I don't find this to be a big deal. So, I mean, I spent a lot of time talking about, well, I guess I gradually moved on from what I've been doing to the state of VR, I hear you. That is why Facebook is trying to make these things as cheap as possible. Which is cool. I mean, and let's be honest too, with the Oculus Quest, especially people who are new to VR, they're not thinking about Space Pirate Trainer. They're not thinking about going to a place, a local tennis court, so they can have enough room to run around freely, and then, you know, and then trying to round up enough people that's got a headset to come there with you, and then the tennis court that you're going to again is got to have Wi-Fi, so all the headsets can connect, and you know where each of them are at, because if they're not connected to some kind of network, you might be standing right next to somebody and don't even know it because the network hasn't picked them up.
Round 2. Ready?
So to me, this situation with the Space Pirate Trainer thing, yeah, it's cool that you can go all out room scale with it, but it's too many caveats. And I mean, these are caveats where, like, something like I think you need your phone to make it work too. In this Space Pirate Trainer thing, playing at full scale, this isn't a situation where you're gonna call up one of your friends and be like, hey, let's go to the tennis court. No, you gotta, if it's an indoor facility, you probably gotta reserve time to rent that tennis court. You gotta let all your friends know, hey, you know, I got this court rented out on this day for this many hours. And then there ain't no guarantee that all the people that you're contacting are gonna be able to make it because they got their own lives too. So it's so myself, seeing all these videos, I really haven't paid attention to these Space Pirate video trainers and everybody jumping around acting like this room scale shit is all of a sudden the hottest thing since Sunburn. Because to me, the thing has way more barriers than benefits. I'm not jumping on the phone, I'm not jumping on Twitter and shit like that to try to round up a bunch of people to meet me at the tennis court. Especially if they're casuals and they're not deep into VR the way I am, there's no guarantee they're gonna show up. I mean, hell, as it is right now, I've got friends that's got VR headsets and we'll talk on the phone and say, hey, you want to play Poker Stars tonight? Yeah, we'll do that. And then we just end up not hooking up. They don't call me, I don't call them, they don't hit me on Facebook, whatever the case may be. And this is them living in their home, me living in my home, and we can connect online and we can sit at a table in Poker Stars VR and chat it up, and we can't even maintain that. So you think I'm supposed to expect this person to meet me at a tennis court, physically meet me at the tennis court at a specific time? And then, you know, a lot of my friends, they have their jobs, they have their families and shit like that too. So I mean, it's cool that this Space Pirate Trainer, it's cool that it's room scale, but you say, yeah, you got a point. The stars need to align for it to work. And I'm a little shocked at the VR community, how they're making a huge deal out of this, and how many people in the VR community are going to be like, oh, holy shit, I can play, you know, Space Pirate Trainer room scale now. Let me grab my headset and run to the local tennis court. No. And then if you're outside, you still have to be mindful of the sun, because you cannot play in direct sunlight. You have to be in a shaded area. And how many tennis courts, how many outdoor tennis courts are shaded? How many outdoor tennis courts are surrounded by trees? I mean, even in a real life tennis match, they're out there in that blazing heat playing for hours.
Ready, go!
So you're talking about doing this in outdoor tennis court, blazing heat, and you actually can't do it because you'll fuck your headset up. Anybody who knows anything about the Oculus Quest 1 and 2, you cannot play these things in direct sunlight because the sun will come down into the camera and it will act as a magnifying glass and cook everything inside the headset. So that's out. You know, going to an outdoor tennis court is out. You have to do it at an indoor tennis court. You have to pay for rental time for however long you're going to use it. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Then you have to get all your friends together, and then there ain't no guarantee that they all going to meet you there. So, I mean, Tantrum, I can say one thing. Games like Space Pirate Arena could get out of the, get out of shape people out for a while and some exercise. But Space Pirate Trainer, going out to a tennis court and playing Space Pirate Trainer, in my opinion, isn't going to give you any more advantage than you already have within your own home. You look how many Thrill of the Fight videos you guys have seen me do. I'm probably playing within a 5-foot space, and I'm getting way more exercise playing Thrill of the Fight within that 5-foot space that you can get playing Space Pirate Trainer running around in circles. So I don't see it. You know, I don't think Space Pirate Trainer, whatever, offers me any experience that makes me say, hey, I gotta go rent space at a tennis court. It doesn't offer me an advantage where I gotta call up 15 of my friends and say, hey, let's all get together at this tennis court.
Round 2.
I don't even know 15 in my area, in my town. I don't even know 15 people with a VR headset. And the ones that do have them, it's because I was the one that promoted it and was the one that pushed them into getting it. Just about everybody I know in my town that has a VR headset is because I showed them my YouTube channels and showed them videos and showed them the benefits of getting a VR headset. You know, the health benefits along with the immersion. Beat Saber, boxing, and other movement-based games makes me sweat already. And you can do it within your own home, Tantrum. You don't have to rent a tennis court. So I think I beat this situation up enough about the Space Pirate Trainer, the current state of VR. To wrap this up, VR sports, I'm going to be fine on the VR sports part of it, because that doesn't, in my opinion, that's not something that requires, you know, it doesn't require great graphics, because it's all about the competition. You know, a game like
Round 1. Ready, go!
Hell, I even use Experience Golf Club as an example. I think it's got good graphics for a Quest game. But even if it didn't have good graphics, now that the multiplayer has been implemented, I'm going to be more about the competition. I'm going to be more about trying to beat my competition rather than looking around to seeing what the graphics look like. Now, when I'm playing a game like Sniper Elite VR, yes, I want graphics. So, Tantrum, you said it's that the room scale thing is interesting, but yeah, there are still the other hurdles, as you mentioned. I mean, the Space Pirate thing, the bottom thing is, the discussion we just had with that, I probably found one benefit, but probably found about 5 or 6 caveats.
Ready, go!
So, How long have I been live now? 40 minutes. So let's go ahead and get to this this PlayStation showcase. So I watched the PlayStation showcase, and I guess trying to get straight into it, the thing almost put me to sleep. I would probably say the first 20 minutes of it, nothing really reached out at me. And say, let's get to the showcase. And honestly, I was getting ready to shut the showcase off until Herman Host came along and like, hey, let's talk, you know, let's take a look at some of the games that you're only going to see on PlayStation. I'm like, okay, now here we go. And then they showed all those games, this PS5 exclusives. You know, Spider-Man 2, Wolverine. Hats off to Insomniac. You can't put a price on the work that Insomniac has done for Sony. Over the past few years, they've given us Spider-Man and given us Spider-Man DLC. They've given Spider-Man a new coat of paint for the next generation. The highlight for me is obviously GT7. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Round one.
The Insomniac is giving us Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank. They're gonna give us Spider-Man 2. They're gonna give us Wolverine, and we haven't even gotten to the VR part of it yet, because we know that part of the reason that Sony grabbed Insomniac was for their VR work. Anybody who's following VR knows that Stormland was a game that was developed for Oculus by Insomniac. And at the time, it was, you know, it looks a little bit dated now, but at the time that that game came out, it was one of the best looking games I had ever seen.
Round two. Ready,
And I think it's a game that I want to go back and finish. But in any case, we know Insomniac's gonna be doing VR work for Sony. So the stuff that they showed us, I mean, when all is said and done, Insomniac, if they're not already, I would say it right now. Right now, Insomniac is more valuable to Sony than Naughty Dog is. I said it. Look at the quality games that they put out in such a short amount of time. And then we got 2 more quality games coming. So, you know, as far as Sony goes, Insomniac is worth their weight in gold. Shout out to Insomniac. So moving on to the other games.
Round four. Ready,
Said Insomniac are geniuses. I would totally agree. Then the other games we got GT7. I don't know how much I need to dive into that, because actually GT7 looked amazing, and I guess, and I think it's a given that GT7 is going to get VR support, and so I guess that's kind of a conversation when it's time, because I will say the one good thing about GT7 is that we got a date, March 2022. I don't think I'll be buying GT7 day one, because PlayStation VR 2 will not have been out by then. Playing GT7 in VR was my biggest reason for getting a PS5. And right now, Assetto Corsa Competizione is my favorite sim racer out there, and you can play it in VR. So because of that, I don't really need to have GT7 on day one when it launches. I will get it.
Round one. Ready, go!
He said, I hear people are upset that GT7 is not a true PS5 game. I don't understand the problem. If both versions play the same, the PS5 version just looks better, then what is the problem? Now here's VR is where the problem is going to come in, Tantrum, because look at the VR support that we currently have on GT Sport right now. Now, from what I have heard, okay, the current VR that we have right now on GT Sport only allows you to do time trials and one-on-one against the AI, and the AI pretty much drives like a kindergartner. It's no competition. So it's severely limited. And from what I have heard, the PS4 Pro is capable of full VR support with GT Sport. I've heard stories about them having a full-blown multiplayer working in VR on GT Sport. But Sony wants parity across the board. It doesn't want doesn't want PS4 Pro having an advantage over the standard PS4. So we got the shit end of the stick for people who owns a PS4 Pro. I still have my PS4 Pro as well as my PS5, and it's kind of a shitty feeling to have that PS4 Pro knowing that GT Sport is capable of running VR, fully playable, multiplayer against a full grid, but Sony won't allow it because the PS4, the regular PS4, is incapable of doing it, and they want parity across the board. Fast forward to GT7 in the PS5. If Sony does this same shit where they want parity across the board on GT7 between the PS4 and the PS5, we're going to get the same bullshit as far as VR goes. We're not going to get the ability to race against a full grid. We're not going to get the ability to race online in VR. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I do think Sony's going to separate the communities. I do think that I think if you're going to be on PS4 and you're playing GT7, this is what you're going to have to deal with. And if you're on PS5, especially when it comes to the VR aspect of it, I think Sony's going to give us the ability to race online against a full grid. Because to me, to put it in simple terms, if I get GT7 and I buy PSVR 2 and I find out that I can only do time trials or one-on-one versus the PC, there's no point in me buying a PSVR 2. It will have been a complete waste of money. The PSVR 2, in my opinion, will have been a complete waste of money. And I would even question whether me even buying a PS5 itself wasn't a waste of money. I haven't touched my PSVR, my PS5. I haven't touched my PS5 in about a month. So, but to put that in a nutshell, I think Sony knows better. In order for us to get the full benefit out of PSVR 2 on GT7, they have to separate the PS4 and the PS5. If they try to keep parity between the two because they don't want PS5 having an advantage over PS4, then the VR is going to be shitty. No way around it. Other games that was shown at this showcase, I'm absolutely looking forward to God of War Ragnarok. They showed us more than I thought they would. I thought all we would get is a reveal trailer. I didn't expect to see gameplay. I didn't expect to see cutscenes. I just thought they would just give us a reveal trailer and then maybe give us a window, you know,
Let's talk more action.
you know, fall 2022 or 2023 or something like that. So
Round one. Ready?
they showed us more than what I thought they would, but it's a little bit disappointing that we didn't get a date on Ragnarok. And I think one of the reasons why they didn't give us a date for God of War Ragnarok is because they're trying to figure out where to put this game. To me, the game looks done for the most part. You know, maybe they need to put a little bit of, you know, dot the I's and cross the T's. But to me, Ragnarok looks done. I think they're trying to figure out where to place this game because you have Horizon Forbidden West coming out in February of 2022, and then you have GT7 coming out the next month in March of 2022, and then we still have factions that we have no idea when it's coming for The Last of Us 2. We're still waiting on factions. They got to place that somewhere, and then we have the launch of PSVR 2, which is supposed to happen in Q4 of 2022. That's not a lot of space for Ragnarok. That's not a lot of space for them to move that around. And then we got Spider-Man 2. You know, although they didn't give us a date on that, I'm guessing 2022, 2023. Wolverine, they already made that clear. They showed that Wolverine is going to be 2023. So let's see here. You said, is God of War Ragnarok also coming to PS4 or is it also coming to PS5 only? I think it's coming to PS4 also. Because a rumor got out. When the rumor had first got out that God of War Ragnarok was going to be on PS4, a lot of people got upset about it because they were holding Jim Ryan to that "we believe in generation" shit that he said. They were holding him to that. So anytime it was revealed that a game was coming to PS4, people were getting upset about it. You know, people got upset when they learned that Horizon Forbidden West was going to PS4 also. People got upset about that. Now, in the case of God of War Ragnarok, when it was when rumors started jumping out that it was going to be on PS4, also Cory Barlog made a tweet on Twitter saying, "Hey, this is some bullshit." He was like, "I made this decision, so be mad at me." That was pretty much an admission that yes, the game is coming to PS4. I'm the one that made that decision, not Jim Ryan. You know, so be mad at me, not them, because he was trying to take the hit for Jim Ryan.
It's like you're moving in slow motion.
But as far as all in all, I think God of War Ragnarok is done. I think they're just trying to figure out where they're going to place this game. Because, like, I think if you remember back in 2016, all the games that they had coming, like Detroit Become Human, at least all the games that we knew were coming, like Detroit Become Human, Spider-Man, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2, all those games that we knew that was coming. And it was like, it looked like True Virgil was good. It looked like Sony had so many games coming out, like back in 2016, that I was beginning to be concerned that these games were going to choke each other out because they were going to release too close to each other. And I think that could be the situation with God of War Ragnarok, is that Sony might be trying to figure out where do we release this game where it can shine the most, because we don't want this game bumping heads with GT7. We don't want this game bumping heads with Horizon Forbidden West. We cannot have this game interfering with the launch of PSVR 2. Like, so that's, you know, so as far as 2022 goes, I don't think Sony has a lot of space to work with in terms of when they're going to release the game. Also, also, for those who watched that showcase yesterday, that Grand Theft Auto in 4K is also releasing in March of 2022. And then other things to consider is that the flat screeners don't really pay that much attention to this, but Grand Theft Auto, a lot of us in the VR community, we already take it as a given that Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to get VR support for PSVR 2. Right now, you can currently play it in VR on PC. Rockstar is aware of that. Sony is aware of it, and it actually didn't do too bad. It actually got a lot of positive, remarks. Being able to play Grand Theft Auto 5 in VR on PC. Now, when it comes to PlayStation VR, I think the big difference is that you'll be able to play online in VR as well. Whereas currently, if you try to play Grand Theft Auto in VR online, their anti-cheat will pick it up and think you're trying to circumvent the game, and it will ban you. So you can only play the single player, the campaigns in VR. So in any case, so with a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 being a launch title for PSVR 2, it's also given that GT7 is going to get VR support. There's also us in the VR community that believe that Resident Evil Village is also going to get VR support. That's a lot of stuff. In 2022, there's going to be going on. So let's go over this again. We've got Horizon Forbidden West in February of 2022. We've got GT7 in March of 2022. We've got Grand Theft Auto in 4K in March of 2022. We've got PSVR 2 in Q4 of 2022, along with all the possible launch titles that I've mentioned. And we still don't even have any information about factions for The Last of Us 2. To me, that doesn't give you a lot of room to place God of War, on the 2022 calendar. To me, that doesn't give you a lot of room. You can launch the game anywhere you want, but the game has got to have room to shine. The game has got to have room to breathe and not bump heads with any other PlayStation exclusives, and for that matter, any other third-party exclusives that might be coming out. As much as I don't care for Xbox and stuff like that, they still got their Bethesda titles that that might be coming out. So I think the bottom line with God of War Ragnarok, I think the game is done. I think the game is ready to go. I think Sony is just trying to figure out where they're going to launch it. Shit, I think 2000, I think it was 2016, 2017 or whatever. One of the Yakuza games got smothered by I think by Detroit Become Human. And I think that year they started that year off big with what the fuck was that game? Shadow of the Colossus with that remake.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Great tantrum. He said, I'm disappointed in the new GT5 with the graphics. With the graphics mods available to PC, it looks bad in comparison. I guess far as GT5 goes, the bottom line is if it doesn't get on PlayStation, if it doesn't get VR support, I'm not interested in it. I already have the game on PC. I haven't experienced it yet in VR, but I know it's there whenever I decide I want to do it. What else did we have in the showcase? Wolverine. Boy. When they showed that, like, that PlayStation Studios logo, and then they showed Insomniac, and I was like, damn, what now? And then they showed that Marvel logo. And I'm like, what? You know, and I'm like, what the hell could this be? And then when they showed the inside of that bar, how you said the project game, can't remember, but that looked good. Okay. So the Wolverine game, when they showed us the inside of that bar, how was bodies laying all over the place and tables was turned over, that bar was just totally destroyed. And I said, when it comes to Marvel characters, the only Marvel characters that I know of that would have went inside a bar like that and destroyed it and damn near killed everybody in there, Wolverine would have done it. The Punisher would have went in there and tore up that whole bar and killed almost everybody in there. And Deadpool probably would have went in there and tore up that whole bar and killed everybody in there. So when I saw what that bar looked like and all those bodies laying around and shit like that, I said, that ain't Spider-Man, because Spider-Man don't move like that. He don't go inside of a whole bar and just tear up everything in there and damn near kill everybody in there. I mean, even Batman wouldn't have done that. So I said, Spider-Man's out. This ain't Spider-Man. So I'm thinking to myself, this might be Wolverine, this might be Punisher, this might be Deadpool.
Ready, go!
And then when that guy walked up behind him with that knife, and then, you know, I seen that hand with that claw come out, I was like, damn. Insomniac is putting in that work. I even give Kid Smooth credit. He made a tweet on Twitter, and he made a tweet that said, how in the hell did Sony secure the exclusive rights to a Wolverine game? And he said, damn, Microsoft, open your wallets. And I think that brings me to my closing thoughts, that a lot of people thought that showcase, they gave it a 6. Okay. I gave it a 7.5. You said Ghostwire Tokyo? Okay.
Round 3. Ready?
I gave that show a 7.5. It wasn't a bad show. It's just with me being a VR guy, the only part of the show that caught my attention were the Sony exclusives, because every one of those Sony exclusives that they showed was quality. And
Round 4. Ready?
it showed, to me, it shows me what a joke the Xbox side is. There's no game that Xbox has coming up that has the quality of those games that we saw. The quality of that Spider-Man that they showed, the God of War, the GT7. Xbox does not have any kind of game that's coming up with that kind of quality that you are going to see in Game Pass. Tell me what game? Forza 8? I don't think so. Now, I say that because look at Forza Horizon 5, I guess. I haven't paid all that much attention to it, but a lot of people were saying that it's, you know, as far as the graphics and the assets and stuff like that goes, it's the same as for Forza Horizon 4. I can see that.
You're getting yourself into.
And then now the trailer for Forza 8 looked good. They give you the impression that they're trying to make a quality game to compete with GT7. But honestly, I think what you're going to get is Forza Motorsport 7 as far as the assets goes. I don't think we're going to get a game that's been built from the ground up with a new engine or anything like that. I think Forza Motorsport 8 are going to be the same assets from Forza Motorsport 7.
Ready, go!
It's not going to be a bad looking game. It's just not going to be next level as people have put it. So, I mean, I just can't see it. I just can't see, I can't see Forza 8 looking better than Spider-Man 2, what we saw, GT7, God of War Ragnarok. And given Insomniac's track record, I think Wolverine is going to be is definitely going to be a good-looking game.
Round 4. Ready, go!
So I've been on a little bit over an hour. Feels like I've been on longer than that. I'm starting to get hungry too. But
Knockout.
I guess that's to wrap that up. Sony gave us what a lot of people felt was a mediocre show, and it was still head and shoulders above anything that Microsoft has been showing us. You know, they showed us games. Sony showed us games, and more games. Whereas Microsoft, with their Gamescom, they mentioned DLC that they couldn't even show you. You know, with the Microsoft Flight Simulator, I guess these like online races or whatever the case may be, they talked about it but couldn't even show it. I mean, what kind of Gamescom is that, where you got DLC and stuff like that, you can't even show it, and all you can do is just like bring on a developer to talk about it. You can't show us any footage, but they talking about it. I mean, who does that?
Round 2. Ready, go!
Naturally talking about more controllers, and naturally Game Pass was a service, was the feature of their Gamescom.
Round 3. Ready,
Wisdom is show the game and less talk, yeah. And that's what Sony does. When they have these state of plays or these showcases and stuff like that, they don't chew up half the show with developer talk. They show you the games. So even though the first part of that show was less than impressive, it still showed you a lot of games. And then, you know, they ended the show with a bang with those Sony exclusives that we're going to be seeing. He said if they be talking, it should be after the game is shown to explain what we saw. Yeah. Now, as far as the developer talk that they gave us, when they talked to the two developers over at Sony Santa Monica in regards to God of War Ragnarok, it was a little bit disappointing that they did all that talking and they didn't give us some kind of release window. But given what I said earlier, I think I can see why. I think they're trying to figure out where to release this game at. So I think that's going to do it for me. I definitely want to thank everybody who stuck around.
Ready, go!
Myself, moving forward, I still feel like I'm taking a little bit of a break from YouTube. I just haven't had the drive, as you put it, Tantrum. I haven't had the drive to do any kind of streams. Anything. I mean, even ACC. I haven't really had any motivation to do any streams lately. I'm sure I will at some point.
Round two. Ready, go!
But I guess I want to take a moment to let those scorch marks from YouTube, wear off. Because, again, I was getting a little bit burnt out as a content creator. And I've actually been playing a little bit of games, but I haven't been streaming them because I want to actually enjoy the game instead of worrying about making a stream out of it, worrying about views, worrying about whether the game has copyright music, all that kind of stuff. I just been trying to enjoy the games. So with that, I'm sure I'll get back to it sooner or later. I don't have a timetable. I'm just, like I said, I just feel like I'm taking a break. I'm still playing games. It's just that I'm enjoying them and taking the YouTube aspect out of it at the moment. But I'm sure I'll stream something again sooner or later. Because we did have a Arashi Castle of Sin. It did get a PS4 Pro patch, and I want to take a look at that. So I might possibly stream that for a few minutes whenever I get around to it. I don't know. So, but thanks Tantrum. Appreciate you tuning in. Surprised I still got some voice left. I don't feel as bad as I thought I would. Again, thanks everybody who kept in contact with me, sent me messages while I'm recovering from COVID. I've done the 2 weeks isolation. I'm not 100% yet, but I still feel a lot better than I did 2 weeks ago. And so, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stretch out, take a nap, and decide how I'm going to spend my Friday. So, everybody have a good one, and I'm sure we'll see you soon. You guys know the line, Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. Thanks everybody, we'll see you later.
You'd better take me seriously. Round one. Ready, go!